Hello everybody, we are back again. Let's see, here we are. Hello everybody, let's see if the chat is working. Give me a second, I need to see if everything is in order. Hi there in the chat. Today a bit different subject. It's about the Rob Papen FX range, which is substantial, quite some FX and plugins we have currently. The last release we did is the RP-Verb 2, which you can see here. And what I did is make a small piece of sequencing, and this will help to show a few things which is inside the FX range of the Rob Papen plugins. Of course, many people know me from the instruments, from the synthesizers, but we have a very nice line of FX which is also loved by many users. Okay, let's play a few bars of things I just put into the sequencer, which we can use to show the features of the FX.
Time to realize I've lost this fight, but I'm never giving up. I've got to try. Oh,
Well, guys, as you can see,
time to
a bit
realize
of vocals.
I've lost this fight, but I'm never giving up. I've got to try.
So what you hear is a range of instruments which I use, which also we use to show what you can do with the, for instance, RP-Verb 2. And what is playing is currently, okay, I bypassed this one. We have a female vocal, which is from a sample library from Loop Masters.
I've got to try.
Now you can hear her dry. She's a much better singer than I am, so wise to use her. Well, then we have Punch playing. So
Oh,
okay, I'll mute that. Punch is doing the drums. We have then sub-boom bass for the bass. We have the indeed, the new go-to is playing a sequence here. Then I have an additional snare which I like to use a bit later on to show something with RP-Verb 2. Very little snare. Okay, now I mute a few stuff so that I can show you a bit. Well, we just released last week the go-to synthesizer, and maybe handy to know, if you buy one of the Rob Papen products, you can register it, of course, and in the your details section, if you go to my products, you can request for free the RP-Amod. And the RP-Amod is really a very nice FX plugin, and that's the first one I'm going to show you. So maybe you're new to the Rob Papen plugins, you just purchase go-to, and then yeah, well, you get the RP-Amod for free. And RP-Amod, sorry, wrong screen. RP-Amod, let's open it. Here it is. And this one is essentially doing flanger, tape flanger, phaser, chorus, ensemble. So really the modulation kind of FX. Therefore it's called Amod, which stands for audio modulation. So when I put this on, for instance, this one I put now, you see it here, here it is. I put this on the drums, and if you go here in this section, you can see that we have several banks. Now in this case, I picked the drums folder, and now the RP-Amod is put on the drums. Okay, let's bypass it. So this is the regular drums and punch, and now I put in the RP-Amod, which is a flanger. But the cool thing about this flanger is that it's MIDI time-based. So normally the speed of a flanger is not tempo-based, but freely. And with RP-Amod, it's tempo-based. You also can use it as a rhythm tool. Now here's the speed control. You can change it, and in the screen here, you can just read out. So when I go over the speed, you can see it's now 2 bars in speed. Well, I can change that. So, and then with changing the length, you can really make some very cool stuff. Bypass again, so this is the normal drums. And now with the flanger. Well, you see auto modulate 1 and auto modulate 2. Essentially, you can use 2 effects in RP-Amod. So for instance, these ones are running in parallel, and this means that you have twice flangers. So this one, let's put that to bypass. So now I bypass it, you only hear the second one, and that one has a different tempo. You hear it? You can make it also panning with special speed. So this is the second modulation, and the routing that's selected here. Here you see this parallel routing. So now I put on this audio modulate 1 again. We have a combination. So it's really a very creative plugin. Now I use it on the drums. Let's go to another preset. Another one. And well, RP-Amod is very popular, and we have a lot of feedback on the users which love this plugin. So there's flanger on board, but of course also the phaser. Let's see if we have a kind of phaser stuff going on. Phase sync on the drums. Okay, let's play it. So the routing is also this way that you can have it serial, so that you could say first a phaser and then for instance something else. Now it's in parallel, and the second one is bypass. You see, if you click on the label, you can bypass it. Similarly, see if I go in serial. Then you got first the phaser and then the tape chorus. Or for instance, another effects, again the tape flanger. So it's top quality. Yeah, I hear somebody talking about RP-Verb. Yeah, we'll be on RP-Verb also this evening. So mainly it's talking about the effects we have. So RP-Amod, check it out. It's very user-friendly. You can request it if you have at least one product, and you can do some very cool stuff. Flanger, phaser, MIDI time based. There are a lot of cool presets which you can find inside of it, as you can see. Also, even with certain styles, so for RP-Amod for vocals and that kind of stuff. So now I use it on drums. Let's see if we can use RP-Amod. That's maybe an idea. We have this vocal here.
Up, I've got to try.
Okay, we bring up this lady.
Oh,
Here she is. Okay, let's take down the Rob Papen effects, RP-Amod. And what I like is on the vocals. Let's see. I open now RP-Amod. So this sounds a bit like Doctor Who, isn't it?
but I'm never giving up. I got to try.
Let's go to the vocals. Now this is a chorus, which is nice on the vocals. Makes it fuller. So bypass now without, and now is the chorus. So RP-Amod, totally top notch, a great plugin for free for anybody who has a Rob Papen product. Check it out, it's really very nice. Okay, let's go to the next one. The next one is a bit more complicated. I think it's the most complicated FX we have, which is called RP-Delay. And RP-Delay, okay, I shut this one down now. We go back to the drum loop, shut down the vocal. And here we have RP-Delay. And RP-Delay has so many routing options. Here you can see the routing options. Now here you see it has 3 delay lines A, B, and C, and they are in serial. So you have A, B, and C, which can be behind each other. And sometimes people say, okay, something is wrong with the user interface because my dials did disappear. No, then this delay is bypassed. So if something is not working in a particular algorithm, it's darkened. So in RP-Delay, it's not for the, you need to have a bit of knowledge in terms with FX send and that kind of stuff, because if you go from one delay to another delay, you always have to work with the mix, which is inside here, inside each of the delay. So of course we have a lot of, and that's the cool thing about RP-Delay, we have plenty of good presets. So here, for instance, stereo grooves, which are nice for on grooves, and there is a bank with insert, which is handy if you want to use it on an insert. And also here you can see there's far more than delays. This delay 2 line has a bandpass filter active, which you can put behind of it. Oh, if somebody is asking with RP-Delay, I don't understand the trigger. Yeah, the trigger one is down here. So the trigger, you can use a controller. And this one can trigger a certain parameter. Okay, let's see. I don't think you need to connect it anyhow through the modulation matrix. And you can trigger them, for instance, that the LFO starts to play, or the envelope starts to play, because the envelope you can trigger on audio, or you can trigger an envelope on MIDI. That's one of the very more complicated connections you can make inside RP-Delay. So the sequencer you can trigger on a given point. So therefore is the trigger setting. So trigger 1, you say, okay, I use for this controller something. Trigger 2, and then inside the envelope, for instance, you connect the envelope something with a certain parameter, and then in the modulation matrix you can connect these things together. That's very deep. It's not something which even I use a lot. So it's I think it's in terms of features quite maybe overdone. It's quite insane what you can do. And so what helps a lot with RP-Delay is that there are plenty great presets. So just play a few on the drums here. Here in this one, it's just delay 1, A, let's see, B and C are not used, but it goes into a filter, which is modulated, most likely, down here. Let's see, it's an LFO1. Trigger is free, that doesn't use a trigger, so I could pick one of the triggers which you can select, but now it's free running, so the moment you start the sequencer, the LFO starts to run. It's tempo sync, so and if you change the tempo here, it changes the speed of it. Okay, now is it another one? I need to check it out myself. So no bypass. So it really adds a nice texture. I think when there is for sure in the future we make a RP delay 2, then we make maybe some things a bit more simpler, so that people don't have the idea, okay, this is too modular. But of course the people who love deep features in a delay will be happy, very happy with RP delay. So mainly the presets are the main power of RP delay. Just if you have a groove, pick one of the built-in delay grooves. Okay. Good, guys. Let's go then to the next one. Well, maybe somebody else has another question about RP delay. I can put it also on the vocal. Give me a second. Put the vocal again. Here she comes.
Time to realize I've lost this fight, but I'm never giving up. I've got to try.
Also here we have many presets. This is a vocal insert with tape delay, and tape delay has a funny thing. If you change the speed of the timing, the time of the delay, you get very odd glitches. Go to the vocal FX. Let's see if we have some weird stuff. So if you want to have some crazy sounds, RP delay is definitely something you need to look into, and the presets definitely will help you a lot in finding the right one. Okay, so let's go now back to a different FX, which is, for instance, the RP-Verb 2. But maybe it's even nice now also to mention the RP-EQ. RP-EQ has a very smooth sounding EQ, very nice, especially in the high regions. So if I would put this now on the vocal and put up the high frequency, I need to put it on, of course. Yeah.
Time to realize I've lost this fight.
I mean, a good EQ, you really can define how the higher frequency sounds. To EQ a bass type of sound, that's not that much a complicated digital, but if you want to add it and make a smooth sound with higher frequencies with EQ, that's much more difficult. And I think RP-EQ stands out in that particular subject, that it is very smooth in the sound. So I'm turning up now band 4, and band 4 is very wide on 12K. On the vocal.
I'm never giving up, I've got to try.
It's very smooth in the sound. And by the way, what we did here in some people did get support and told, hey, I'm moving this band in the graphics, but it doesn't move from left to right. Well, that is on purpose. This preset, vocal presence, has a 4 band it uses, and band 4, you see there's a lock. So the frequency stays there, because if you have found the right frequency, and then you move this mouse here, if you don't have the lock, you can easily go in another frequency. Sometimes you need that, sometimes you want that, but if you want to have a steady setting, so let's go back to the original, then it's handy that you can lock this frequency. So that's this little button called lock. Also the bandwidth you can lock, and even the gain you can lock. So this is really some of practical things inside the RP-EQ. So what I wanted to show you now in RP-EQ, for instance on vocal, is that really it can beef up a vocal. So if you have a vocal which is not jumping out of the of your mix, if it's too much inside your mix and you don't hear what she's singing, then we have a nice preset here with vocal presence, it is called, and I put it now in bypass. So let's play the vocal in bypass. Maybe nice to have also the vocal with a bit of reverb on it.
Time to realize I've lost this fight.
Okay, now it's with reverb.
But I'm never
and what I do now is using RP-EQ to give it a bit more top edge so that it jumps better out of the mix. So I'll go now out of bypass. Bypass, okay. So now with
time to realize I've lost this fight.
Now I put off the EQ.
But I'm never giving up, I've got to try.
So I put it back on. Of course it's very subtle, but it's in the high end that you can hear the difference. Maybe I should set the vocal a bit softer so that you can hear it a bit better. Let's see. Now it's bypass. Still bypass.
But I'm never giving up, I've got to try.
Now I put it on. Now it's with the air function. Even if it's a bit softer, it still jumps out much better. So I will go back to RP-EQ a bit later on. So I put on this vocal a bit louder. So RP-EQ, this air function, is really nice if you want to lift the solo instrument. It also could be, for instance, a solo guitar or a solo synth sound. By using a bit of air, you can really lift it up on top of all the other instruments which are playing. Okay, now what you hear already is the RP-Verb, which is a very popular, I think almost famous affix we have, because once we released RP-Verb, it was really at that moment a unique sounding reverb with a very dense and warm sound. It didn't clutter. It really, real reverb needs to embrace the sound. So needs instead of filling it without in a negative way. So so now I put this on the vocal.
Time to realize I've lost this fight.
Nice. I will put it a bit louder again.
But I'm never giving up, I've got to try.
Okay, now I put without reverb. So here it has really big influence on the sound. Back again. So it's very dense, warm sound. So new in RP-Verb 2, what we did is this reverb thing, and this is pretty much new. To understand it, what happens essentially is that you got the reverb, and the sound is recorded into RP-Verb and put out reversed. So you got really this type of sound. So let's play it again. And you can see I can put it on here, on off. That's with everything, by the way, or the reflections on off. And so let's play it again. You see it's in sync mode, which means that the recording and the playback is in a tempo-based mode. So let's play it. Then you can hear that you have a reverb, but also a reverse sound.
Time to realize I've lost this fight, but I'm never giving up. I've got to try. Oh,
there are little arrows moving, and of course here we have the mix. So if you are mixing and you like this FX, but you want to have mainly the reverb, and then sometimes this reverse, you simply record this dial as a parameter. That's of course a very good tip, I hope. So let's go back and play, because if I have this dial fully, this mix fully to the right, you have only the reverse sound. So let's play only the reverse sound on the, so you don't hear the original reverb. What you hear only is the reverse sound.
time to realize I've lost this fight, but I'm never giving up. I've got to try. Oh,
Of course, now it's a bit weird for this track, but if you combine this with the original reverb, you get really, I don't know, very special sound.
time to realize I've lost this fight, but I'm never giving up. I've got to try. Oh,
So we have plenty presets on board. Here also, of course, the insert banks. So vocal insert, and of course we have the different presets. Vocal FX goes. I'll just play one of it now. Let's see how that one sounds. Some weird stuff going on here. So what we have a late reflection, which is a single delay, which is a tape delay, and this one is modulated. There are some many additional features like an LFO, which you can use to modulate stuff. Envelope follower, which you can use as a noise gate for drums, for instance. It's very deep, although it's not in that way too deep that you can't handle it. If you know a bit basic knowledge of mixing, insert, sand, and gate, noise gate, LFO, and envelope, you very fast can work with the RP-Verb 2. Well, this is then on a Ghost. Let's see what this is.
time to realize I've lost this fight.
Well, this kind of FX is of course very interesting if you're doing film score or doing music for games, which weird sounds are needed, maybe.
But I'm never giving up. I've got to try.
Odd stuff. Okay, let's do the RP-Verb 2 now on drums. Of course, the drum loop is now getting a bit boring. Okay, let's do a snare drum, which is... That's a very tiny snare. Okay. Now, okay, the snare, where is it? There it is. And I shut down the bass now also, so only have drums. Okay, I wanted to show you that the reverse is also very nice rhythmically, just like we had the upper delay with kind of rhythm stuff. Okay. You see here the reverse is kind of also this is only the reverse. Combined with the room. So it's a very small room type of thing, which is reverse. By the way, in this preset, distortion is used. Inside RP-Verb 2 we have distortion, okay? And okay. Now you hear only a bit of percussion. You see the distortion, it's very special in my opinion, that the distortion, okay, let's put it a bit louder. There's only a few cowbells. When I do a bypass now, it's dry, almost dry. One sound is going into a, I think, a reverb inside punch. So this is punch what you hear, some percussion sounds. Now it's totally dry. Now I put RP-Verb 2 on it, and it's a small room type thing. And distortion is here. You can hear it adds a different edge to the I put off the reverse now, but this is the distortion, and we have different saturation. We also have fuzz. Still, it changes the color of the reverb. I think that's very special on RP-Verb 2 compared to other reverbs, is that you have a kind of distortion ahead of the reverb, and it really adds a kind of tone to it. Of course, there's an EQ which you can put on off. Now, of course, now you hear a little room. Bypass. Again, it's room again. And now I can put on the reverse, and the reverse is MIDI time bass. Now its whole time is 2 bars, so after 2 bars it starts recording again, and the reverb sound is played back. Okay, maybe little. I think there's also another stuff going on here. Okay, I need to bypass that one. So now you only hear the reverse one. Of course, there's a threshold level, one which level it records the reverb. But you hear now, it's really a musical thing you can use. So now when I turn back this mix, room with the, see if we have some more noise. Bypass. So it was punch on the drums, only some cowbells. You hear the cowbells now, but you don't hear them as it was before. So this RP-Verb 2 is really a sound machine or a FX machine of its own. So put it on again now, and suddenly the cowbells are back in a different way. course, by changing the hold type. Of course, the reverse time I can change the hold time. The hold time means how long it takes before it starts recording again and reversing it. Then there is attack and decay, and this makes that the reverse sound can have a soft attack and a soft release. And because, as told before, you can record this style here, normal room, and do this on certain bars. So that, I think, is the difference, I think, mainly with the Rob Papen FX, is that we add really some different stuff inside the plugins which you will not find in any other brands. And that's because we love to think out of the box and do some new stuff. So in RP-Verb 2 it's a distortion and, for instance, this reverse part, which is very, very different and very special. Okay, let's check the chat room. I see a few more came in. And maybe, guys, you have some questions. Drop them, please. I just showed from the start on the RP-Amod. We had RP delay, RP EQ, and now we are at the RP-Verb. Of course, we also have the distortion, RP-Distort. I didn't show that one. And for the ones we are joining later on, I made simply a beat with a vocal. Of course, this is Predator 2. Oh no, this is Punch. Wrong one. This is Predator 2. I shut down the FX, and on synth, the RP-Verb is also nice. Okay, put it on here. See, on the synth sounds, let's see how that sounds. So it's just a synth sound, and only synth sound is RP-Verb added. There's also an ensemble in RP-Verb 2, so you have kind of chorus, very thick chorus. Let's put that on also. So now without RP-Verb 2, only Predator 2. I like that, so I keep that one as it is now. Yeah, Go 2 is playing here, but it doesn't use any FX. It uses its own FX. That's our new synthesizer. Last week I did present that one and present that as new product. So I thought, yeah, why not use it today and show Go 2. Currently, we are working on making it Anchor S compatible, so that people who use the Machine 2 or the native instrument complete control keyboard, that they can use the dials and scroll using the browser. So this one plays a sequence sound. Let's play it solo. A bit like Kraftwerk. So then we have the sub bass is playing. And as you can see, no FX is used, it's just pure sub bass without any FX, even not in sub bass 2 itself. Now then there's this vocal, and with this vocal we were using EQ. put on the reverb again. That sounds better, normal. Yeah, that I did mention. Okay, we let her sing, and then we have, of course, on the RP-EQ is great if you put that on the master, and you don't have to even use the regular EQ. For instance, if you only use the error bit and the mono stereo split filter, which is great to get a very tight low end, because low frequency are not, you cannot stereo image bass. Bass is essentially mono, and if a bass is mono in your mix from a certain frequency, it's more tighter in sound. So what this feature down here does is that it makes below frequency 103, which you can set here, it makes the sound mono. Okay, and that results very often in a more tight bass sound. So let's see what happens here, because essentially with subboom bass it's already a mono sound what I use, but if I put on a bit of chorus, then I make it stereo. Hear that? Bypass, mono, stereo with the chorus. Okay, let's see what happens now when I use on the master RP-EQ and do the mono stereo split filter for getting a better, more tight low end. So now it's without the mono stereo. I will put it on now. So it makes the low end more stable. And then we have this air function, which I love because that simply adds a bit of brightness. So let's put it on. Listen to the hi-hats. I put it off now in the air. Put it on. Okay, logic that I don't hear it. I'm messing my own ears. And now it's gonna work, sorry. Now it's mono. And now the air function.
Time to realize I've lost this fight.
And now with air. So that was funny, just I was showing it and I didn't hear that difference myself, but I had RP-EQ bypass, so I thought, oh, maybe you're getting old, Rob. But yeah, it's definitely working. So now the last example, I put it on. So the air function, what you can do yourself is just put it on and then open the amount. Let's see, and listen careful. I open the amount now. So what you can do is download the RP-EQ demo version and put it on your an older mix of yours. Put on the air and open the amount a bit, and you will be surprised what you get out of your older mix. And for instance, the stereo mono filter function. So yeah, so today the live stream is about the Rob Papen FX range, and I showed already RP-Amod in the start, and this one is for free for the ones who did miss it. If you have any of the Rob Papen products, RP-Amod is for free. So you go to My Products, register your product, and click Get Deal, and you can request this very nice effect. So I showed it on the drums, for instance.
Time to realize I've lost this fight.
It's a bit distortion, it's loud.
But I'm never giving up, I've got to try.
Flanger.
Oh,
So this is only drums, and we punch drums. Let's bypass it. So this is without it. Let's shut down the go to any bass. So the fun part of RP-Amod is that MIDI time bass flangers. You can have two after each other or two in parallel. These are two in parallel. So we can really use it as a kind of sound sculpting tool. Change the settings here or the space. Reminds me again of Kraftwerk. They sometimes also have this kind of groovy stuff. See, you can do some very extreme stuff with that. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is also from RP-Verb. We talked about the distortion we had. And if you have, for instance, a snare, this one is a very light one. Okay, you need to mute a few stuff. And I hear some cows. Where are the cows? Shut up. Yes, there's a lot of going on. Oh, there it is. Okay, this is a snare. Very light, small snare. And I have the bass playing, so that we have a kind of rhythm stuff going on. So now we have the RP-Verb 2, and we have the many folders, preset folders. For instance, drum and percussion, and I pick now insert because it's on a channel insert. Well, this is bass drum. Let's go for snare. And this one uses an envelope follower. Can put it off. So it uses a gate, and the envelope follower, it's an envelope follower which you can use on the gate as gate, and also address it on different other parameters. Let's see if we have another one. Because the envelope follower, I also can say destination, some of the other parameters. So reverb lengths. Now it changes the reverb lengths. Maybe I should take a different snare. Let's see if I have a different snare. So this one. Well, that's pretty distorted already. Okay, let's have a better one. this one now. So that's pretty dry. And now I'm going to use the distortion in RP-Verb to sculpt the sound. Without the distortion, I can go even more the power one, and then in combination with the envelope, then you got a gated sound. So the distortion, when I put it off, you can hear that definitely has a lot of influence on the sound. Now it's more the room gets really more aggressive. And then of course I can combine this with reverbs, which I showed earlier in the stream. So really a sound sculpting tool. It's just by editing a few sounds. Now it's the snare dry. There are many presets on board. You can hear the RP-Verb adds something to the sound, but it's not in a way that it totally blocks everything out. It's a very smooth sounding reverb. Okay, let's check again the chat room. So what I showed today was the FX range. And maybe somebody of yours have a question about it. I would say just drop it. Next week we have another live stream, of course. Then I will talk again about the synthesizers. Maybe we make also a live stream where you only can ask questions and I will answer them. I think that's a good idea for next week. Then you can say, okay, Rob, how do I make this sound, or how I do make this sound? I see Gert is would love to see some noise shots things about synthesizers. Well, next week I think we will talk about it. Also how you can use this use synthesizers to create certain sounds. Of course, not everything can be reverse engineered. It's a lot easier to reverse engineer Kraftwerk sounds than, for instance, re-engineer sounds from Noisia, because Noisia uses a lot of distortion, and the moment you use distortion, the sounds are hard to track what is ahead of it, ahead of the distortion. So next week, the live stream questions from you. I will mention it, of course, on Facebook as well, and Twitter, that there will be a live stream. And then again, we talk about the synthesizers. Okay, what I missed now in FX, the only one I didn't show you guys is the RP-Distort. Okay, let's go back to this lovely vocal sound. So what we do here, we put on the reverb. That's a good idea for the voice. That sounded good, but instead of the I will use here, no, that's the wrong one, not RPQ. I'm doing something wrong here. I need to pick the RP-Distort. Well, it looks very similar, of course, to the the way the RP delay looks and the RP-Amod. So we have a distortion module, EQ ahead of that, a gate. We have a filter, it still has a filter on board, and a compressor. Of course, many presets are on board. Let's see what we have here on the vocal. Maybe it sounds terrible, but we can give it a try. I think it looks that this female singer is between the door. While singing, the door was shut down. So yeah, no, it's called lo-fi. But here you can select the different type of distortions we have, even first. So let's go a bit first on the vocal. Makes it very noisy, isn't it? But if you shut down the distortion, we have the widen option, which makes something very stereo. All kind of presets are on board, and you can see you still have some modulation option. There's a LFO on board which you can use to modulate the different parameters which are inside RP-Distort. So RP-Distort is not only distortion, it has also a very nice sounding filter on board, 12 dB, 24 dB, and then it has a compressor on board and then widen, which widens the stereo image. Okay, let's see. So it is the introduction bank vocal. Let's see what we have on the vocal. Vocal clipper wide. Yeah, you can hear it's very different. This one, if you put it on the vocal, let's see. Take another one. This is the vocal through a Fender. Still, in some tracks, they sometimes use it. That sometimes the vocal lead singer does something and sounds as if it was recorded on a small speaker. So that kind of material you can do very easily with RP-Distort. So now I did it on the vocal. I shut that down. But if I go back to the drums, and pick here again, RP-Amod. Sorry, RP-Distort. On the drums, let's see how that sounds. Of course, we have many presets. Then I pick with the quick browser. I go to the drums and percussion and see what we have here. That was a big distortion. So this one is totally distorted. Well, you simply have to put it on the track and give it a try. Many presets, you can change the order. You can see distortion, filter, compressor, widen. That's the FX paths. You can have a different one. In total 24 paths. So you can first say, okay, let's first do the filter and then go into distortion. Yeah, plenty features on board. Okay. Okay, guys. So, yeah, this was it for today. Is there maybe anybody having still a question? I don't think so. I hope you enjoyed it. As mentioned before, we place the live stream always in this playlist. On YouTube, you have the playlist for Predator 2, playlist for Go 2, playlist for Bluetooth, for RP-Verb 2, and we always have also a playlist live stream. And so after a certain time, you can also check this live stream in the playlist, which is called live streams. So check it out later on. Maybe if you want to check again what I did in this live stream. And I hope to see you again next week Thursday. Thank you guys for watching.